It's January 14th, 2026. I just wanted to give an update of some of the classes that I had today and what we did. The first student I had was doing an essay on Animal Farm. So this is a literary essay, literary analysis. He's got the question, how do the pigs maintain control on Animal Farm? And he has to answer that in his essay. So we've done this ideas list. I've gone through, I've given my suggestions. And the next thing the student has done is created his essay, and we're basically on the first draft now. So I've been doing some revision, and he has to revise each paragraph for his second draft. So we're going to look through the first paragraph here. This is the intro paragraph. You can see I've put in some suggestions, introduce the book and the author. So they usually say, in George Orwell's Animal Farm. You can have both the author and the book there as well, and have a hook, have some background sentence that really brings the reader in. That's what I was trying to stress and suggest for the intro. Next, I put some boxes around some things like mostly boiled down to. I said that's a non-academic phrase. I think for an essay, mostly boiled down to is not going to work. We have some punctuation we need to fix. We had can, could, and could. So first, they can use their intelligence. Second, they could influence the animals. And then finally, they could use force. I said this was a bit clunky over here, the can, could. I don't think we even need those. I think we can just say directly, first, they use their intelligence. Then they use their influence. And then lastly, they use force or violence. A couple things here. Brainwash, I recommended maybe making it a bit more interesting, a bit spicier. I said brainwash was kind of too much of a basic word for this type of essay. Through speeches or through fear and force to scare the animals into submission. So the structure of his intro here, he's giving his points and then giving some kind of examples that he's going to explain more in his body paragraphs. That's fine. That's not really my style. When I do these essays, I just kind of give my 3 points and then I leave it up to the reader to guess what my examples are going to be, and I will explain them later in the essay. Then concluding the intro, I like to kind of ask myself, what is the result of all this? What is the result of these tactics? And so just here in my sample intro paragraph, I said, in George Orwell's novella Animal Farm, the pigs are able to take control, and yeah, maybe this should be in italics, but the pigs are able to take control of the farm and enforce their own ideology upon the other animals. This successful takeover and eventual control of the farm is dependent on the pigs' ability to utilize their intelligence, strengthen their influential rhetoric, and use force by any means. For me, stylistically, that's how I like to do my intro paragraphs. I like to have those 3 points and kind of make them. I told him I like to make it sound cinematic in a way. And then I ended it. The tactics they develop allow not just supreme control, but also domination over the others and a transformation into something they fought to overcome, namely humans. And if you wanted to be cool, obviously you could do an M dash and you could say, namely humans. So that's how I did this. And I did use AI as well. I put his paragraph into AI, said, can you clear this up, make it more academic? And it gave me a response, which was, of course, good. AI always does writing perfectly, but it just didn't really seem personal. I couldn't, obviously, you can't really feel the students writing in that. You can kind of tell that it's them writing if you know them well enough when they're doing this work. And I just thought, oh, this paragraph is not very interesting. It's written well, but it just doesn't have that emotion to it. So I told him that I wasn't concerned about it being manicured and perfect. I'm more concerned about the good ideas that he can come up with in his writing and analysis. And then so we went to math after that. We've been looking at sig figs, significant figures, really good stuff for estimating. My main concern here was in this question, it's asking you to estimate by putting your numbers into one significant figure to make it easier to estimate with these exponents. Main thing was he was doing it right, but he had issues with arithmetic. So I said, you always have to double check each step, make sure this basic arithmetic is not wrong because it will screw up your whole answer. And then we looked at volume of a cuboid, and the answer was given in 3 significant figures. So yes, he got that right. He was confused if he should be shortening the dimensions. And I said, no, that's a good question, because on exams, they'll try to trick you. Look at what the question is asking. It's only asking for the answer in 3 sig figs. It doesn't say reduce those dimensions or round them to a certain number of sig figs. And then we did an estimation question, which was great. This book is a British book, so we were using pounds for this. There's a football stadium, it's got a certain number of seats, and let's say they sell all of the seats, and each ticket price costs £32. Can you calculate how much, estimate what they're going to make, the profit? He went 40,000, so 1 sig fig, and then £40, and got to I think that should be 1,600,000. The zeros are just a bit out of place. I said yes, fine, for estimating, I get it, but you got to look at this, that 32 should be 30, it shouldn't be 40. So then actually it would be 1,200,000. And then here's the actual answer here, which is quite close. So sig figs can really help with estimation. Next, we with another student, I did some science. So this is middle school science. This is about grade 7, grade 8 territory, talking about the respiration, cellular respiration. And he has a test tomorrow, so we did some review. One of the review questions was explain how the different systems, organ systems in the body can facilitate cellular respiration. And I admit that I haven't done this work in a while. I didn't do too much review, so I had to kind of scramble and look up different textbooks. I found a lot of great textbooks, a lot of different websites that I use pretty much all the time. Got some good info, and I wanted him to explain it in writing. He's very good at talking, this student, with his answers, but writing is really important, especially when you're doing those tests. So he gave a pretty good answer here. And I just told him I want to focus on the big picture here. So tell me the 3 organ systems that are being used. What are they really doing? Kind of make like a flow chart about this. If you do some diagrams, it's very helpful. The main things here, we're looking at glucose and oxygen, and we're trying to see how that goes through the body, what systems help get that into the body and move it through the body so that it can get to the cells and it can help with cellular respiration. So we did talk about the digestive system for that, respiratory system for that, and then circulatory system for getting things through the blood. So very important just to remember that and draw little diagrams. Then we talked about the components of the blood and their functions. And for this type of stuff, when it's biology, I don't remember everything, so it's always good to kind of make a story. Just do what you can to put it into your own words and try to remember it easily. So we talked about it. He didn't know what the 4 main components of blood were. We did some searching. We looked at some good websites. I got this good picture. I think this is very helpful. We've got the plasma, white blood cells, platelets, red blood cells there. And then we talked about what they do, and then said, okay, so how can we make a story out of this? And he said, well, let's talk about it. It's a double-decker bus. The blood is like a double-decker bus, and inside is the royal family. So I said, okay, fine, let's do that. Let's say the red blood cells are the queen. We've got white blood cells are like we said it's the knight, it's fighting stuff. It's the white knight. And then the platelets are involved in blood clotting. So let's say that's like the guard who is not letting things out. It's a bit of a stretch, but we said that. Thank you for watching the video. Revolutionize Education, or RE-ED, is a nonprofit aiming to provide high-quality education to students around the world, preparing them for an uncertain future and giving them the tools to thrive. Classes focus on making students super learners, being able to read critically and make educated conclusions, formulate thoughts into clear writing, understanding diverse concepts in English, math, science, languages, and many other domains. Focus is given as well to career pathways and insights into what options are available down the road. Students are paid with dojo points and can use these points to buy prizes and even real money. Why not reward them for their hard work? The goal of Re-Ed intends to be a self-sustaining enterprise providing free, tailored education. This is made possible by donations and support from you. I just want to give a quick pep talk that I've been giving to my students lately in January 2026. We live in unprecedented times. The future is extremely uncertain, balancing between a true utopia for all or something worse. This matters for you because you will create that future. Your daily, monthly, and yearly choices, combined with all the other choices made by your peers, will equal a shift in the way the world evolves. Now, if you believe that the mind's potential is infinite, then this means all options are possible. Now more than ever, we can have answers at our fingertips within seconds. What could be wrong with that? Well, think about how we got here. What did it require? It required the lack of answers, the lack of solutions, and the abundance of problems to solve. That is the great nature of our being, solving problems. To solve, you must think, and therefore thinking, which is now under threat, must be brought to the forefront. So I implore you to value thinking, remember what thinking can do, and let your thoughts lead the way to the future. In practical terms, what does this mean for you now? Well, you can sit in a room. Well, can you sit in a room with just your thoughts and work perfectly through problems of numbers, words, and images? And what that basically means is, can you work through mathematical problems? Can you work through scientific problems? Can you work through problems with language? Can you use your mind to its fullest potential? And can you transmit that knowledge to others and build the future together? Those are questions to think about. So, thank you again for watching all of this. Re-Ed is a nonprofit based in Canada. It is made possible by support from the community, by people around the world, and it's a real honor to be able to provide high quality education. One thing that makes this possible is donating. So this is a link to donate. I will have this in the description of the YouTube video. This is the link you'll be able to click. It's called Zephy.com. That's the platform that this nonprofit uses to collect donations. The donations are all in Canadian dollars. So for Canadians, they will get a tax credit emailed to them. It's all in Canadian dollars. If you reside in Canada, you get a tax credit for donating to the nonprofit. Be careful when you get to the payment page. You do not need to donate to the Zephy platform. If you want to, it's great because it's a fantastic platform and it helps nonprofits survive and take donations. This is totally optional. If you want, you can just put in other here and then put $0. So if you want to donate just $15 to the nonprofit, you can do that and make sure you don't add any more. Make sure you have other and then 0 as the contribution, and your total will be 15. If you would like to book a class or talk to me or just ask questions or get more information, you can use this link here to book a class on Calendly. All you have to do is click it, find a time that works for you, book it. I will see that. Make sure you put in some information about maybe your contact info so that I can reach out to you and provide a Zoom link or another link so that we can have our call. Thank you again for watching my video, and take care.